Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session covering the Directorate for Mathematical and Physical Sciences. And I am now pleased to present Leonard Smidt.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for attending this breakout session for Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorate. I'm Leonard Spino. I'm a program director in Division of Materials Research in MPS. And I'm working in the National Facility Instrumentation Program in DMR. And I've been a program director at NSF since 2015. So I'm going to go over a set of slides. I'm going to give you some general information regarding program available within MPS. And the focus will be on some of the multi and interdisciplinary programs. And it's not meant to be a comprehensive coverage of all available programs within the Directorate. We focus on this multi and interdisciplinary program because maybe these are not probably known widely. So for those for disciplinary programs, the best way to get information is just to contact program director for each division. I'll be happy to take any questions after my formal presentation. So in these slides, probably you have seen a version of this slide and showing how the Directorate for Mathematical and Physical Sciences is organized within NSF. We see that we have the different divisions and offices that makes NSF. And you have here highlighted our Directorate along Geosciences Directorate, Engineering, and so on. And on this slide showing what is actually the mission of the Directorate, and actually is focusing on enable research in the field of mathematical and physical sciences. And the idea is that the MPS divisions within the Directorate support both disciplinary but also interdisciplinary projects and activities that partner with the division within the MPS, but also with other Directorate from NSF. And on this organizational structure of MPS, you can see how the 5 divisions within the Directorate are organized. And actually, you have a high-level presentation of different programs within each division. And the MPS is led by assistant director, and we have an office of assistant director. And also at the level of office of the assistant director, there are office of strategic initiatives. And also we have a senior advisor for major facility that actually coordinates all the activities related to the major facilities. As you can see, for example, in different division, you have a space for mid-scale instrumentation or instrumentation of facilities. For example, astronomical sciences, you have a mid-scale instrumentation program and the major facilities. And also you have centers which are assigned to enable research by larger team of investigators. And we have centers in chemistry division or materials research division or physics. The equivalent of this larger team in Division of Mathematical Sciences is the institutes. Also, you have also for each of the divisions research experience for undergraduate program, which enable experience for research done by undergraduate students. And one aspect that I would like to mention here, looking on this slide, is that within MPS, we have a set of 5 divisions that are pretty diverse. For example, if you're looking on the Directorate for Biological Sciences, all the divisions in Bio Directorate actually are very homogeneous because they kind of focus on the same kind of discipline. Here you see that we go from astronomical sciences to physics, chemistry, and materials and mathematical sciences. These are some numbers, give a sense what is the activity carried out in the Directorate. And actually you have the budget, which is for last year. We see that it's $1.6 billion. It's a budget for research. And within this budget, this accommodates about 7,500 proposals. And this results in about 2,500 awards. And as a result of this funding, approximately 34,000 people are supported within the category that are mentioned in the right side of this slide. It's a pretty extensive research area, and actually in MPS, the division fund research areas basically that are not funded by other funding agencies, like for example, in mathematical sciences, DMS, the Division of Mathematical Sciences, is the only funding agency funding this kind of research activities. And some other numbers related to success rate and the number of actions and what are the declinations. And actually we see with the color bar, you have the blue, which is our declination, and with the golden color are the award or funding actions. By funding action means also not necessarily new awards, but can be also supplements or other incremental funding that actually is done on existing awards. And you see that actually the budget pretty much, the funding rate is pretty much stays about the same, hovering around 25 and 30% across the directorate. And of course, different divisions and different programs may have different funding rates depending on the typical solicitations. Now, in terms of the funding and what is the directorate budget, pretty much kind of stay constant. If you take into account the equivalent of $23, take inflation rate. So it's roughly $1.6 billion. So this is the typical budget that we have across the years. Even, for example, showing a slight increase from year to year, actually with the inflation rate, basically is about the same. And next, I'm going to present some of the programs that are available within the directorate. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to mention on some of the multi and interdisciplinary programs across the division. And the funding mechanism of this type of activities, it's pretty diverse and could be solicitation that actually assign a budget for a particular program, or could be meta programs, which are programs that actually highlight new initiatives, but actually the funding actually is provided by existing programs. And it's a coordination at the NSF level between different divisions and directorates. One example is this Molecular Foundation for Biotechnology. And when we have NSF and NIH partner on developing RNA-based methods for biotechnology innovation. And actually, it's a partnership with MPS at NSF, but also with the Bio Directorate and Computer Information and Science Engineering Directorate in NIH. As this showed a few examples of what are the awarded. So it's like $12.7 million were awarded in the last competition, with a typical budget between $1 million to $1.6 million. Another program, there are different programs. I'm going to show several slides related to that. It's related to quantum information science and engineering. And this refers to the Quantum Leap initiative. Quantum Leap is a meta program, and it's actually going across all directorates at the National Science Foundation and encapsulate all the initiative related to the new quantum revolution. Here on the top left picture showing a picture taken in 1927 at the Solvay conference, where actually it was the start of the first quantum revolution in the early 20th century, where among the 27 attendees, several were obtained at that time or later Nobel Prize on research related to the emerging of quantum mechanics. Now, the next revolution, which is enabled by a Quantum Leap initiative, is focused on enable physicists, mathematicians, chemists, and engineers to address how we can use quantum mechanics to control matter and light in such a way that we can have an application based on quantum mechanics. There are several, for example, funding, for example, associated with quantum information science and engineering. One of them is Quantum Leap Challenge Institutes. Here are large-scale interdisciplinary research projects, and are showing here 5 of the existing centers, which are spread across the nation. And I have the acronym motion there, and I can look at the name of the acronyms there. For University of Colorado, we have the Institute for the Enhanced Sensing and Distribution using quantum states, correlated quantum states. University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. You have the Institute for Hybrid Quantum Architecture and Networks. University of California, Berkeley. We have the Institute for Present and Future Quantum Computing. And University of Maryland, College Park is the Institute for Robust Quantum Simulation. And finally, University of Chicago is the Institute for Quantum Sensing in Biophysics and Bioengineering. As you see from this title, cover a large range of activities related to quantum mechanics on different aspects of science and engineering. There are also some updates related to the quantum information science engineering, and we see 3 main panels regarding to the expand of QISE, quantum information science engineering, and we have information of the support that NSF provided in the last year. Also, there are other for example, quantum sensors program, and also information about the reauthorization of the National Quantum Initiative. And one other important aspect part of this Quantum Leap mega program is the second stage, is the design of quantum science and technology demonstration. And it's a competition underway after the first phase of the pilot. Right now, focusing on how we move from the design to the implementation phase, how we can use quantum mechanics-based technology on actual products. And these are the specific competition related to that. Another important interdisciplinary program that MPS is involved in is the National Digital Twins. And here you have examples of 2 solicitation. And you have a collaboration between NSF and FDA and NIH on the right-hand side for the Foundational Digital Twins as catalyzer for biomedical technologies innovations. And also you have Mathematical Foundation of Digital Twins, where actually supports foundation research on digital twins in applied science to harness science, technology, and innovation to address society's most pressing challenges. Artificial intelligence is another area where there are different multidisciplinary program initiatives. Here, give some examples of how MPS is partnered with other directorates. For example, you have artificial intelligence, formal methods, and mathematical reasoning, which is a partnership between MPS SCIENCE, or MPS partnering with science, engineering, and SB directors for developing mathematical foundation of artificial intelligence program. Also, other examples in this area is initiative on advanced discovery with artificial intelligence powered tools. This is a Dear Colleague letter. We're actually announcing this initiative, and actually they are a call for submission either through supplemental funding to existing grants across the MPS, but also as a part of eager or raise funding mechanism that you already heard about it in the previous presentation. It's an open call, no proposal for deadlines. And there are different opportunities related to different focus area that are listed in this slide. And also in the same area, Artificial Intelligence Institutes, that is a program solicitation that was issued last year. And there are different teams. For the first group team was for this year, was going for Artificial Intelligence for Astronomical Sciences, which is jointly funded with Siemens Foundation. And for the next group team that is projected for next fiscal year, will be a focus on AI for discovery materials research, and also is jointly funded by with Intel Corporation. Another aspects related to which are interdisciplinary areas are sustainable chemistry research within MPS. Yeah, and there are different three examples with different focus area. One is focusing on micro and nanoplastics, one on climate change, and one looking for innovation related to sustainable chemistry program. And this is a meta program where actually it's a dear colleague letter for each of these three initiatives, where those interested can apply for existing programs with focus on these areas. For our colleagues in astronomical sciences is Windows on the Universe. This is coming from NSF Big Idea that was introduced a few years back, is focused on enable multi-messenger astrophysics. And the goal of this initiative is to build capabilities to use different ways to have integrated and multi-messenger astrophysical exploration into the universe, which is built in an existing facility like LIGO, IceCube, or Vera Rubin Observatory. Okay. Another important aspect, and again, this is coming again from a different focus area and a big idea on harnessing data revolution. This is on the data, computational and data-enabled science engineering, or CDSE. And this is a cross-directorate program involving MPS engineering and science, and is designed to capitalize on opportunities for major scientific and engineering breakthroughs through new computational and data analysis approaches. It's a meta program, so proposal can be submitted through existing funding opportunities, but there are announcements that give instruction how this proposal could be submitted. And it's a co-funding between different parts of the NSF, MPS engineering and science, depending on the research project. One example of a standalone program now, which involves a cooperation and partnership between MPS engineering and science, is designing materials to revolutionize and engineer our future, or DEMREF. Some of you may be familiar with. This was started in Division of Materials Research, and soon after actually involved different parts of the MPS with mathematical sciences, chemistry, but also different other directorates like engineering and science. And it's related to the material genome initiatives with the concepts of having the theory guiding the synthesis and also the experiment in a closed loop to accelerate materials discovery and development. And involve this collaboration between these three aspects on designing materials, with the data being the glue that keep all these three parts together. And it's a program that actually is a competition every other year. And they are depending on the type of proposal, the submission can be sent to the different division partner in this program. One program that is NSF-wide, it's major instrumentation program, and I think going to be a presentation that are going to be focused exactly on the MRI, major research instrumentation. And I mentioned it's all directorate, and the MRI program supports the acquisition or the development of instrumentation for advancing fundamental science and engineering research. And the typical budget goes up to $4 million. In the last solicitation, there are a few changes for those of you that you are already familiar with the program. One important change is that the cost sharing requirement was lifted. This was lifted for a period of 5 years. So we're going to be a new competition starting sometime this fall. And not going to be a cost sharing requirement for the PhD granting institution. And another change is the introduction of a new track. We have a track 1, which refers to proposals seeking to acquire or develop instruments with a budget smaller than $1.4 million, and track 2 with budgets between $1.4 and $4 million. And a track 3 that was designed to support the acquisition or development of instrumentation focused on conservation of liquid helium. So it was this realization that liquid helium is a resource, helium, that is needed for research, and is this track 3 that actually allows researchers to be able to acquire or develop instrumentation that help them to conserve this important resource. And one program that was mentioned several times in the morning session is the Faculty Early Career Development Program, or CAREER. And this supports early career faculty who have the potential to serve in academic role models in research and education. Research and education are important aspects of this program. It's a submission window in the summer, and proposals are selected based on the plan of integrated research with education. And there are important points to have in mind. First of all, there are some eligibility requirements. So these are eligible only for investigators that are not getting tenure yet. And there are 3 times submission allowed. And there are more details in the solicitation, but it's a NSF-wide program with different particularities for different divisions and directorates. So one message that I would like to, again, stress here, you need to ask questions about this program if you have any intention to submit a proposal. There are some programs, right now I'm going to go over some of the initiatives related to the broadening participation in MPS. So there are quite a few. So this comes from one of the important area that NSF is focusing his funding, and one of them is Missing Millions. And this is to address the lack of diversity and in STEM sciences. And there are different programs for different levels, different areas. For example, this is all the programs. We're going to have a slice for each of them. MPS Ascend, which is Mathematical and Physical Sciences, Ascending Postdoctoral Research Fellowship. So these are program focused for supporting the postdocs. And next we have Mathematical and Physical Science Ascending Faculty Catalyst Award. We're looking for the next period after the postdoctoral research fellowship, the transition to the tenure track faculty position. And then program LIPS MPS, which is an acronym for Launching Early Career Academic Pathways in Mathematical and Physical Sciences. And here listed some of the awards that have been given last year. And one important program that initially started in Division of Materials Research refers to the partnership between centers or larger teams funded within the division and a partnership with the minority serving institution. And initial was the PREM program, which was focused on a partnership between Division of Materials Research centers and national facilities. with the minority serving institution. Right now, we have an equivalent partnership program model in all of the 5 divisions of MPS. I'm going to go and present them shortly. So, mentioned about the Ascending Postdoctoral Research Fellowship Program, and the purpose is to support postdoctoral fellows who will broaden the participation of underrepresented minorities in MPS fields. And the intent is to recognize that it's important to provide support at the beginning of the careers and to help and prepare fellows for the next career stage. And typically, this provides support for about $100K each year for 3 years. And this is a very popular program and just started with the year 2021. And another important program is the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Ascending Faculty Catalyst Awards, and which supports the successful MPS Ascend fellows. So this only is open for those that are successful to having the MPS Ascend award. Then for the next phase, for transitioning the tenure track position, we can get additional support for typically 2 years with $150,000 per year. And this is designed to help the PIs to continue scientific contribution and help to get to be successful in competing to the regular NSF programs. And another example that came last year is this a mentor network related to the MPS Ascend. So right now supports the Ascend Fellows by mentorship, fostering interdisciplinary interaction. Right now the network comprised by 4 universities involving Carnegie Mellon, Iowa State University, Tuskegee University, and University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And mentioned about LEAPS program. So this is to help to launch careers of pre-tenure faculty. So this is designed for those that don't have already tenure. And in MPS fields at U.S. minority serving institution, and which or predominantly undergraduate institution POIs or Carnegie Research too. So the awards are typically for 2 years and have $125,000 per year. And as mentioned before, the goal is to allow a broadening participation to include members of minorities that are not represented in the mathematical and physical sciences. Okay, I mentioned about the partnership program, and here we have the different programs and different division in MPS. So I mentioned about the partnership for research and education materials. We have partnership in astronomy and astrophysics research and education, and partnership for research education in chemistry, and partnership for research in education physics, and finally partnership for research innovation mathematical sciences. I like the acronym for mathematical sciences, kind of fits the field. And the idea is that to help to have connection between minority serving institution, but also the centers, major facility, or institutes that are funded within division. And another aspect for broadening participation referred to the high school students. So it's a dear colleague letter announcing this initiative where it's possible to provide supplement to existing grants to have high school students getting support to be embedded in research. And the idea is to broaden the participation of high school students that are in groups that are not involved in STEM research. And the one important point to be said is that that for this particular program, the student need to be identified, and actually should be a supplement request where actually mention the name of the student, the background, and I think it's the typical support about $6,000 for one student, up for 2 students. And other supplements are available through the from MPS for awardee of Alliance for Graduate Education and Professorate and Graduate Research Supplements. So our so-called MPS, AGAP, and GRS. And these are designed to promote and increase the representation in MPS research, and allows to support, these supplements are allowed to support 1 additional student at AGAP and AGAP Legacy Institution. These are defined by the solicitation in EDU Directorate. And there are some eligibility requirements regarding to graduate students, and these typically cover about $6,000, covering stipend, tuition, benefits, and indirect costs. And one program that I hope that everybody's familiar is the undergraduate research programs. So it's REU, or Research Experience for Undergraduate. And there are REU sites and projects. And these are based on independent proposal to initiate and conduct projects to engage undergraduate students in research, and could be RU support for sites that may be based on a single discipline, or could be supplements for RU to involve support for undergraduate students to be embedded in research. And here showing a map just for one division with different RU sites. So it's a special funding for having sites which actually typically have opening for 10 or 15 RU places for each summer for students to be embedded in research for typically 6 weeks program. And another predominant participation aspect is to primary undergraduate institution, RUI or ROA, and these are long-standing possibilities for allowing PI from PUI or RUI to submit a proposal and to get support for research. I think this is my last slide, and I'll be happy to answer any question. And on this slide, you have contact information for the deputy division directors for each of the division. And we have from astronomy, chemistry, materials research, mathematical sciences, and physics, with email and phone number. And one message again, ask early, ask often. And with this, I'll be happy to answer any question you may have. Thank you.
About the supplement, does it depend on how much money I have left on my grant, or can I request supplement anytime I want?
So typically, I think the major condition is that we have an existing grant, which is still valid. So
yes, I have one.
And not necessarily what is the balance. This is not conditional. What is the unliquidated balance on that award? No.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, what is ROA as opposed to RUI?
Yeah, good question. So RUI is research or undergraduate institution. So basically to support the PI, which are doing research in a primary undergraduate institution. ROA is research collaboration with PI at research intensive institution. So provide support that you can have a collaboration. So ROA is like, it's association, I think. Yeah.
So they are both for the
helping the PI that are embedded in the primarily undergraduate institution, but you can have a project to support activity within that institution, or activity which can be a collaboration with a partner at not primary undergraduate institution.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Tahara. I have a follow-up question with the supplemental. So
Sure.
I have a grant which is valid for next 2 years. But if I want to ask for RU supplement, because that's what I was looking
Yeah.
for this year, how early should I apply for? Like, is it just typical like 13-month cycle that we saw in the morning, or is it shorter for supplementals?
So I think that the soonest you like to have a supplement, it's good to ask the program director, the cognizant program director.
Okay.
And he or she may be able to advise you when to come back, or just what's the formal way to do it.
Okay.
But I think that, as mentioned earlier in the morning, is mentioned that depending of the time of the year, where request is could be processed within that fiscal year or not. So I would say that I would not wait, let's say, until April and May to ask for something happening in summer, because by that time the program budget may be already spent out.
Exhausted.
So this would be one thing to have in mind, because the funding for each program is coming after fiscal year starts. So typically starts October 1st, but not all the time we get the funding, before November, December.
Yeah, it gets just a bit tricky because for RU, you don't know if you have student lined up. So it gets, I'm just a follow-up.
I understand. Yeah. So yeah, but typically if you ask the program director, going to give you a sense of when, and are actually processed pretty fast if the funding is there.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, just one question. For the LEAPS program, does one need to be a permanent resident to apply, or is that not necessary?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
And at least permanent resident. Yes.
All right. I have a question from our virtual audience. Can you talk a little more about the upcoming call on AI institutes and materials science?
So I'm not sure if I'd be able to provide more information at this time, and I think that the best advice I'd have to contact the program directors, and I think that are listed on existing AI, and each division has a representative, and actually I would ask the program director that is assigned to that. Yeah.
So if I want to become a reviewer under DMR, then who should I contact? Be that you or the division director?
I think that the best approach is to contact the program director, because the program director handling the proposal. So, and you just be as simple as sending an email and stating that you are interested to act as a reviewer, and send your resume or CV, and just stating what is your expertise and what are the programs you think that it may help. And all the time we are looking for reviewers, and we appreciate the willingness to help with my review process. So just send an email, and you may contact different program directors, because may have a larger expertise area. Mm-hmm. So just send email, and one other piece of advice is just try to be persistent. Sometimes program directors may be busy, and you may not get the email back as a response, but so just email. Yeah.
Thank you.
Does it take longer time for review if I submit a proposal between April and October? Because you might have spent all the funding for that fiscal year. So
I think there are two different answers. You probably mentioned in the first session that one of my colleagues mentioned that actually may tend to be longer, and one colleague said it's not really any difference. We need to we strive to get processing the proposal, about at least 75% of the proposal to be processed within 6 months. So if you submit, for example, in the summer, and if I don't have any budget, the only avenue for me is just, okay, I can review it, so I can see it, and I see that actually it's meritorious to be funded. I may not have funding at that time. So if I'm process it and have reviews, let's say in the summer, I need to wait for the budgets to come in October. So, and usually you may get an email from the program director say, hey, your review and may take longer or so on. But I think that the more important thing is to submit when you are ready, and not when do you think that you're going to be faster or going to have a best chance. Can try to play the system. Just submit when you're ready. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know right now with no deadlines, it's a bit more trickier because some they like deadlines because they work better when they have a deadline, and especially for those that procrastinate. Others, they like open window because they can take their time to submit and develop their proposal to be, fully developed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, another virtual question. How likely is a collaborative research of arts and body movement is in parentheses and math ED could fit in EUR? Any suggestions?
In UER?
It could be he or the person wrote out EUR.
Okay. So I think that from this brief description, it's hard for me to give an assessment. And I would just say something that probably you are tired to hear about it. And it's email. I contact the program director, but the program director that is closest with that science and research initiative be best to provide the best advice. And I think sounds interesting from this brief description, but again, contact the disciplinary program director.
I think I have a quick question for virtual. Is it possible to volunteer as a reviewer and submit a proposal for the same program in the same cycle?
No. So it's a conflict of interest. So you cannot to be in the same time, put your time on the scale, so to speak. So, yeah. And I think that in the afternoon going to be a coverage of the conflict of interest and all this. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you highlighting the interdisciplinary nature of some of your grants. When it comes to proposals that lie between, the area that your program funds and let's say the engineering directorate funds, two questions. The review process, the number of reviewers that go through the proposal is going to be different or not than a single program proposal. And the second question is that what if the proposal doesn't really, essentially, instead of having a hypothetical case, I'm just going to talk about an actual case that I have. The idea, both directors, both programs are thinking that it should be funded by both programs like together, but neither of them are going to take the lead of becoming the main program. So it's essentially pushing me as the PI to change the idea, which is against what is essentially suggested. Because in the previous session, they were saying you should have the idea and try to submit that.
Yes.
Regardless of, which program it's, do not make it fit for a specific program.
Yes.
So what is your recommendation in that case?
I think I could reiterate the same recommendation. So just submit the best proposal you think of the science that you think that is best.
But to which program?
So try one of them. And actually, before submitting, I would contact the program directors that actually you think, or both programs that may be, for example, responsible or attached to that research area. And I'll try to do it before and contact program and give an idea what may be the research projects, and you may get a feedback, say it's better there or it could be here. Because I think at the end of the day, until you don't see the proposal, you're not going to be able to save 100%. Everything is kind of, I would say something like that, that it's true that nowadays research is multidisciplinary, so interdisciplinary. So you don't have probably, one single program that can fully describe. And I would say to submit it to that program that actually where represents the research area that is the center of gravity, so to speak, of your project. If you have, let's say, 60% type of, let's say, polymers, I would probably submit a polygraph program in DMR. And if you have something related to sustainability, I would probably engage other. But I would say that try first to contact program directors. And what I would say is that if it's in the purview of NSF, a research area, every proposal is going to find a house, finally. No,
to know
but
that.
you may want to control a little bit this thing by doing some homework at the beginning and try to contact program directors for different programs to get an advice.
And about my first question, is the review process different? Like a larger number of reviewers are going to go through that proposal because it's a multi-program?
I understand. I think was the same question was asked earlier on, and I think it depends. For example, if, for example, I receive a proposal, which is, for example, respond to my program, but also to my colleague. And usually, I have a conversation with my colleagues and we decide how we want to handle it. And there's an option that he can propose one or more reviewers, or my reviewers that I selected, for example, are broad enough to cover those aspects that actually are covered by other programs. So we have this conversation. So it can be an option that actually can be another additional mail review, ad hoc review, or if it's a program that involves a panel review, a proposal could be handled by two panels. And we end up actually having two panel summaries, one, for example, for one program, one for another one. Yeah,
Thank
so there are a variety of models, but it's not one size fits all.
Thank you.
Hi, we have proposals which have, we're thinking scored maybe very well because we've heard from the program officer where they've requested for the revised current and pending, revised budget, but then they end up not being funded. Does that mean that maybe those proposals scored very well, but it's just those two documents that ended up determining their funding?
So let me make sure that I understand. So you got a feedback of the proposal, and then program director asks you for revised current penny support or updated, and also
A revised budget.
And then you provide all this documentation. Finally, this didn't happen. Is that right?
Yeah, nothing
Okay.
happens. It raises our expectations. We're hoping that we're getting funded, but they
I know.
end up getting funded.
I'm sorry to hear that. So it can be many, many things. So it can be as simple as that the program felt that could have an additional resources or a co-funding from different parts of NSF. And this co-funding did not materialize at the end. So this is probably the most common cause. And, but I guess finally you received the feedback, is that right? Or not yet?
Yeah, no, we do get the feedback. I'm actually a research administrator. We get the feedback, but I don't get the reviews. And then
Did not get the reviews?
no, they go to the PIs. I don't get the.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, I just get the declination email.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that the PI can contact the cognitive program director and get more information what happened. And actually, I think this is the best thing to do to clarify this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
So earlier we heard that it was 6 months evaluation date. When we write the proposals for the start to determine this start date, should we consider that 6 months or just consider, okay, this is a good time that I wanted to start and write that as a start date into the budget?
So let me make sure that I understand. So you are thinking of the starting date, no? And actually you're putting into equation that if I'm submitting right now, it take about 6 months to be reviewed to get a determination. So I would not put exactly within 6 months because I think that one of the objectives we have at NSF is to handle at least 75% of the proposal within 6 months. It's possible that some of the proposal, like 25%, the other 25 to take longer time. So I will probably have a cushion at least 3 months from that period. And finally, it doesn't matter. Actually, I mean, it does, but actually, if, for example, you put a starting date, but the determination took longer and you already have the starting date, if the award is materialized, usually going to be at least 1 or 2 months after you get the notification. So because the award needs to be implemented and so forth. Yeah, but it's going to be a conversation between program director regarding the starting date. The only thing we cannot do, we cannot make the starting date earlier than the one that is mentioned in the cover sheet, but later is possible.
And the other question that I have, like the proposal that was due this beginning of the May, does it go into this fiscal year or next fiscal year's budget?
So it's due in May?
Yeah, beginning of the May.
Yeah, so most likely the funding going to be realized for those awards with the funding for next fiscal year. Because if it's in May, if it takes 6 months, we are in November. So we expect to get the funding for the new fiscal year and the awards are done. So if it's in May, usually going to have a review process going to happen over the summer, and actually early fall, you may have, some kind of determination and the funding to realize the awards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For the career proposal, is there any recommendation of the starting date?
So career, I think, is pretty it's predictable in the sense that it's a deadline.
Yes.
No. So you have a deadline sometime in July, is that right? I don't
Yes.
remember. Okay. So if you have a deadline in July and you have, let's say, 6 months, so this goes to the end of the year. I would put something, next year, maybe not early than, February or March, but I don't know, it's something that you're looking at, you're comfortable. Yeah. So I would also maybe talk with the program director to make sure, because depending on the program, you're going to have, other information. But this is what I would say. If you put in December, I'd be skeptical this is going to happen. Yeah.
One more question. There are a lot of questions about starting date. Is it influencing your decision? My request of start date.
So what's the question?
We requested start date.
Yes.
Start date. Does that have any influence on your decision? Decline or awarded?
No.
No, should not. Right?
No.
Okay, even if I.
Why this would be? I'm curious.
Because if I request, let's say 6 months, and you don't have money in 6 months, so you can just pull it.
No, if the proposal is meritorious, and let's say if the PI, the submitted proposal is strong, review well, but he was too optimistic in getting within 6 months, the proposal should not be penalized for that.
Okay.
So basically, it's not.
Sure, start date doesn't.
As I said, we cannot put a starting date earlier than the one you requested, but later is possible. And most of the time this is happening. Yeah.
Just a quick question about white paper. I know white paper is not really required, but like everyone recommended you should do it and ask earlier. So if I submit something and I didn't receive any reply, even with reminder, should I somehow take this as a negative feedback, or just people like it varies from program to program, and I can go ahead and submit it?
So I think that's just not necessarily negative. It's just maybe possible that the program director is.
Yeah, this is for no deadline, like a standard one.
Yeah, so you submit a white paper, and you inquire if this is appropriate for that program,
exactly,
and you are waiting and nothing came back. Just send another email, and you can follow up with a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I mentioned is that when you do call, try to leave a message, because that message on the voice message actually going to come to the attention of the program director, and actually probably remind about the email you sent before.
Okay.
So just be persistent. So.
Okay, so I still try to
sure.
get some.
And also, it's very possible that some programs they have more than one program director. Try to email to another one while CCing the other one. So in this way, he or she may be kept in the loop that you are following the inquiry. Yeah.
Okay, so if till the moment I still cannot reach to the program manager, it is okay to submit it?
Oh, yeah, sure. By all means. It's not necessarily to submit a white paper to apply for specific programs. But you may want to do that because you don't want to wait 6 months and then to go to a cycling and, let's say, unfortunately proposes decline. And maybe the only reason is not because the science was not sound, but maybe the proposal was not submitted to the right program. or was better than other program. I can share from my own, experience. Now I'm with Division of Materials Research, and I was working as an assistant professor at tenure track at the University of New Orleans. And I was doing research in nanostructured materials, and I submitting to Materials Research Division. And I went through 2 or 3 submission and declination. Finally, I contacted the program director, and the feedback that I received is that it's better to submit to engineering division because it's more applied. So actually, this helped me a lot because after that, I was able to be successful. It was as simple as getting the information and be to submission at the right place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another one from our virtual audience. For clarification, if the award is granted and approved after your proposal budget start date, are you allowed to charge funds to the grant as of the start date or as of the fully executed agreement?
So it's this possibility that actually you can incur costs up to 90 days before the starting date. But this comes to your, kind of your own risk, because if something happens and the award did not materialize, then you may have, expenses that actually may not be able to be reimbursed from that award. But it's the institution has the authorization to request, so actually to have this cost towards that award 90 days before. Even, for example, in some instances, it's possible to request to incur costs prior to 90 days. This is also another possibility. But you need to work with your institution and to make sure. But the answer is yes, it's possible.
Do you have any information about the next MRSEC solicitation? Is it due to come out later this year, or?
I'm not sure exactly. And yeah, so I think that typically it's going to be a solicitation out, and actually what's going to happen is 90 days after that. But I would just probably contact my colleagues, Cosima, Bosel, and yeah.
Okay.
Other questions? Anyway, I cannot stress enough, just try to contact program directors, and we are there to help you. And I may not know the answer to your question, that I most likely know the person may know the answer. So please contact us and we'll be happy to help you.